Hi, I'm Ron Bailey, Manager of Training at Sencha. I'm here to walk you through one of our components from our flagship product, the XJS web application framework called the infinitegrid. First, I'll go to the Sencha website, sencha.com. From there, I have a link where I can go to our resources drop down and choose from examples. There are many different examples from many of our products. Today I'm interested in XJS's examples, so I'll go to that link. There's a gallery of many choices here I have for how I want to view examples of how to work with XJS components. I'm interested in the infinite grid from the classic toolkit. So we have a kitchen sink gallery of how those components work. I can choose from the list of components provided here on the left, or I can make a direct search for the component I'm interested in. So I'll do that. And here I have a display of one implementation of the infinite grid. The infinite grid's role addresses a common issue when it comes to working with web applications, and that is how to deal with large data sets, which are often the case for larger companies, and how to best access that data and display it in a satisfactory way to the end user. So the approach the infinite grid takes is to, behind the scenes, while you're scrolling through the grid, to load that data as you're scrolling. It implements behind the scenes a feature called a buffered store to be able to do this. So as I'm scrolling, you see the grid doesn't seem to ever end. There could be millions of records here. Behind the scenes, it's only loading the data as I'm scrolling through the grid. If I go particularly fast, you might see an actual hiccup demonstrating that loading, and a loading mask indicating that there's more data to be loaded in. If you're interested in as to how this grid was coded, off to the right we have a details panel that will reveal the code responsible for rendering this grid in XJS code. So here on this first tab I have a view for how the look and feel was coded, and on this store tab I have how the data was managed to be able to bring that in. So here you see a setting for loading buffer zone. This is saying how much data is presented to the end user at a time. So it's 100 records that does that. And if I ever want to actually play around with this code to try it myself, I can always use another tool in the Sencha suite of tools to work with XJS called the Sencha Fiddle. And what I can do there is take the code from my examples, paste it into the editor here, and begin working with it right away. So here it'll let me edit the code. This being a fiddle, I also have the ability to save this locally to my machine if I like, and work with it with an actual application local to my device. Or I can share this with others to give their input for how they'd like to work with it as well and collaborate. So I hope you've enjoyed this walkthrough for how to work with the infinite grid from the kitchen sink on XJS's website, sencha.com. Take the time to explore our other components that we have in the gallery off to the left in this menu. We also have the same for the modern toolkit for modern browsers.